Hey, this is lesson 2. We're going to go over a quick recap on the last lesson. The last lesson I'm going to go over, it was lines and drawing from your shoulder. Those are the kind of key takeaways. And I want you to do many pages of lines so that you can raise your control, because control is the most important thing we're going to have within drawing that's going to follow you throughout your drawing career. Even now, I've been drawing for 10 years, and I will still sometimes warm up with those line exercises, or in the two exercises I'm going to teach you in this video. And I still do that sometimes to warm up, it's like you're warming up for, like anything to do with fitness. It's kind of pulling the dexterity and information out of you, in this case more dexterity, like you're using your arm, you're warming up the literal muscles in your arm. And you're pulling that to the surface so then you can really get working and really, improving your drawing. So right now we're going to go over circles and kind of trying to control that. Again, it's more of a control exercise. So if you look at a coin, for example, flat, it's clearly just a circle, correct? Sorry, it's really thin lines, hopefully you can see that. And the more this turns at an angle, for example, if we lift it up, that ellipse, it starts to become an ellipse. It's no longer a circle. It's more of an elliptical shape. And that's kind of what the idea is. We're not going to go over the very specific, because there is a very specific kind of perspective exercise, and we'll go over that later. But later in several lessons down. But right now you don't have to learn that. Right now, all you have to remember is that the more the coin turns, the thinner that ellipse becomes. And then the more toward you it's facing, the larger the larger it is, even if it's by a slight margin. So just kind of keep that in mind. You don't have to learn like the perspective exercise yet. Like I said, you don't need to know that. So circles in general, right, are immensely good for like raising your control. And like you saw me do there, what I normally do is I did that with a line exercise as well. I'm doing a circle and I'm not even touching the paper yet, but the muscles in my arm, I'm using pretty much right now, I can feel it all the way in my shoulder, into my elbow. And then you're slowly touching the paper as you do that. And I guess you can kind of push down on it hard and it gets all messy, and that you're training the musculature, the hand-eye coordination. That's what you're doing. So drawing circles is a very typical exercise. It's one of the foundations of, so many programs, just practicing with circles. Just fill the page with circles. And they can be different sizes. Another thing you do, like I said, with those ellipses, it can be different, perspectives. There's different levels of ellipse. I still think the hardest one would be the straight circle. So I would stick with a straight circle for now. That would be the exercise. Stick with a straight circle. I'll give you the actual homework in a bit. But when you're doing that, for example, I'm going counterclockwise on mine because I'm right-handed. Try going clockwise. If you're going counterclockwise, try going clockwise. Really grind it in there. Like I said, do this if you have to. If you're just not getting it, just kind of like grind it in there. Just get it into your bones. You're getting this into your being, for lack of a better term. Just fill it up. Fill up the entire page. And literally, like I said in the last video, you're gonna feel all these things activate in your arm. You've never felt. It's strange. It's a strange feeling. But one day that's gonna be commonplace to you. You're not even gonna think about it. Little tiny circles. So For me personally, I would do a page of circles before, just to warm up. I do that almost every time, every day currently. Before I warm up, I just do a bunch of little circles on a scratch piece of paper that I have that's junk, and I just chuck them. And, you know, this exercise, I would say, is immensely hard for completely, like, you know, people starting is really hard. But once you get that, it's going to be so much more valuable. Like, think about how many eyes, right? Start with like a circular shape. Everything, like the circle is the sphere is one of the like the cores of like drawing in general. Drawing a head, when you're drawing a head, and you know, in general, you're drawing the head, and then you're putting the jaw off it. Sorry if that's off camera. So do that, and I would recommend you do. I want to say, and this is gonna sound insane, by the way, but I would literally, if you're completely new, which I trust that you are, I would do 15 pages full of circles, and you can show them to me if you want. You can email them to me. I mean, again, they're circles though. They're practice. They're for your. There's only so much I could say about circles unless it's a very obvious issue, and they don't have to be perfect. As you can see, this one, a lot of this, like I said, is for yourself. You can save them. I recommend saving every drawing, by the way, from the beginning. But you don't need to completely save the lines and the circles, you know. Like I said, they're for you to practice. But if you do 15, send it to me for accountability. I can literally see that you did 15, and I'd be like, wow, like you did them. You know, you're accountable, meaning you're actually putting in the work. You're actually putting in the time, because so much of drawing is time and it's pretty much time and mileage. You're putting mileage on a car once you know what to do. So do 15 pages of circles only. Like, I mean straight on circles, not ellipses, circles, only circles. So, and that's exercise 1. The second exercise is, I believe it's like the tornado exercise. I also learned this. And I would start with, think of like a tornado shape, maybe something like that. It doesn't have to be perfect. So maybe you can do 3. I'm using 11 by 17 paper, by the way. I didn't mention that in the last one. I'll make sure to put that in the descriptions. 11 by 17 paper newsprint, and you can buy that extremely cheap either online or Office Depot. It depends. I mean, I buy it at Office Depot, like I said. I don't know where in the country you are, but I'm gonna put a link in the description in case you can't buy it at any store near you. I'll say about 20. I think this one was about $20 for, I mean, a massive amount of it, like a huge pile of it, and it lasts. And I draw on this all the time, by the way, and it lasts me sometimes the entire year, you know. So really worth the buy, super cheap. I'll put the link on Amazon, but just go to your store, either one. So okay, this one's gonna be called the ellipse exercise. This was a little bit thin. I shouldn't have done that. Let's just draw any shape of that sort. And what I want you to do is I want you to either create circles or ellipses and fit them between these shapes. So let's see, is it on camera? Yeah. Let me go over here more. So let's just say this tornado shape. I'm gonna throw a circle or an ellipse right in the middle here. And I'm gonna try to get it to touch these 2 lines right there. And you can do any kind of ellipse you want. You can do a straight circle. See, that one didn't touch right there. But try to make it as close as you can. That one's a little bit weird. That one's a little bit weird too. It's a little bit messy. But try to stay as clean as you can at the start. You don't have to be 100% clean, and then go with these long shapes as well. I mean, you're probably gonna fit way less, See, that went way over the line. Oh, that was terrible. But yeah, it gets harder as you go along. I'm sorry, it gets easier technically. These ones are very hard because you have to kind of almost do this long stretching shape. And I'm actually gonna move the paper on this one. Feel free to do that. I know sometimes I recommend you don't. I think for ellipses you should, if you need to. And you're also gonna find that the more you warm up, the better you get at this. That one, see, this one's off right there, and it's almost touching there. Same with this one, they're almost touching. Purely for your control. And I want you to know that you don't have to be perfect at all. Obviously, I'm drawing, and even this is still, you know, it's a very great exercise for me now, even, you know, to warm up to. But this gains you insane control when you kind of just do this every day for a long time. You just start to gain this insane amount of control. I know I said it in the last video, but think of it as similar to a gym. I don't know if I mentioned in this video before, but this is these videos are entirely free resources, so kind of take advantage of them. I'm gonna check out, and I will add lessons in between, depending on what my feedback is, you know, because I want to build this into, I mean, it's already kind of a community, but I want to build into a, you know, the in-betweens, everything that you need for portrait drawing. Because I think that the reason I picked portrait drawing as well is because that's like the #1 thing people want to draw generally. Not always, but portraits come up a lot, so I want people to have that source. So fill this up. This one's gonna be kind of not touching anything. Maybe I could throw a wall here. So fill this page up as many as you want. Do 10 pages of this. I know that sounds insane, but do 10. You can take a day, take a week. I would try not to take beyond a week, you know, but take the time that you need to get 10 in, you know, to the point where by the end of it, you will realize, you know, you're probably going to notice that your arm feels a lot better drawing. Like some smaller lines will seem just strangely more easy, you know, like when if you actually attempt just to doodle, you're gonna find that things are much easier after you do stuff like this. All right, then, that's pretty much it. Do 10 pages of that. So that's the homework. Do 15 pages of just regular complete circles, like I talked about in the other one. Just complete circles, fill up the page, and then do 10 pages of this tornado exercise. I'm gonna just call it the tornado exercise with ellipses, you know, ellipses. Like I said, or straight circles if you want here. But that's pretty much it. That's it for the lesson. Hit the next one, and we're gonna do another dexterity exercise, and then we're gonna get into some stuff that's a little bit more complicated, and I think you can handle. So, like I said, email me if you want accountability. Email me. I will look over your ellipses or anything you want, completely free. So I will see you in the next lesson.